Hi class, we're going to be starting off with science. Today for science we're starting a new lesson. We're going to be starting off with the water cycle. The water cycle lesson is really fun and interesting. At the end of the lesson, I want y'all to be able to understand the water cycle process, be able to put them in the correct order and identify the correct order of them. And also you're going to truly understand the purpose of the sun in the water cycle process. So I'm sure you all can recall some of the previous years of science and how you learned about how the certain aspects such as the sun or the moon played a role in how the earth acts, or things that happen on earth, such as the seasons of the seasons of earth, like how they change, or how the positioning of the earth with the sun and the moon causes seasons to change. Maybe day and night, how the earth's position or tilt kind of causes day and night. So all those kind of things things from outside of earth, such as the sun or the moon, they have an impact on that. So we're also going to learn the same thing on the water cycle. What has an impact on the water cycle? So the water cycle is something that the sun plays a major role in, but we're gonna learn about that later on, after we start this new activity I have for us. So I don't want to get into vocab and all, but after this activity we're going to be learning more and understanding truly how the water cycle works. So for today's activity, we're going to be doing something called the water cycle baggie. The water cycle baggie is something we're going to do on our own, at home. We're going to be needing some activity. We're going to be needing some materials. Okay guys, so for the materials you're going to need for the water cycle baggie, they're going to be a Ziploc bag, some markers, and also some water. So you can use markers or pens, whatever you have available, it's fine. Anything that you can write on the Ziploc baggie with. So I did send out an email to parents yesterday to have them have the materials ready for y'all, so you don't have to move around and stuff. But in case nobody paid attention, or somebody didn't pay attention, or just things happen, then I'm gonna give you about 5 minutes to go get your materials and have everything situated. Okay guys, so for the water cycle baggie, I'm pretty sure all of you guys got your materials ready and all. So I already have my Ziploc right here. I drew it in pen, so it's not really that you're not able to see it that well, but if I take a picture of it, or I for my own reference, I can see it. And everybody has their own water cycle baggie, so that's what's really important, if you can see it. So you can make it as colorful as you want. You can do one color, you can do whatever you want. I did it kind of colorful because I had a lot of pens on mine, so I just did the sun. You can just draw your sun, some clouds, or one cloud, droplets, little raindrops, a body of water, and then you can have a steep kind of land area that kind of returns the water back to the body of water that there is. So once you have that drawn, I'm gonna give y'all time to actually draw that, and then we can move on to what to do after that. Okay, class, after you have your water cycle baggie complete and you have your drawing on it, we're going to be grabbing the 1 cup of measured water, and we're just going to be pouring it into our water cycle baggie. If you find it difficult to do it on your own, then you can definitely ask your parents or somebody at home for help, and then they can help you. And then you just want to seal it so that no water drips out. And then you should have something like this. Your water shouldn't fill up the whole, it should just fill up where the the bottom, kind of an inch or 2 up. And then you'll just have something like this. And then what are we, like, I'm just gonna explain what you're gonna be doing for this assignment, so it's kind of like more clear of what you're gonna do, because you just kind of have a bag filled with water right now. But what you want to do is, for this assignment, we're gonna be using this with our water cycle drawn on it, to kind of demonstrate or like represent what happens in our actual water cycle, in our atmosphere, what happens with like in our planet, in the planet's atmosphere. So like this is gonna be a model for what really happens. So that's kind of like what we want to get to. But how that's gonna happen is, we're gonna take this and you're gonna tape it anywhere in your house. You can put it in your room, in your window room, and you can put it in your kitchen window. You can put it anywhere you want, just somewhere where you would like anywhere you prefer. You just get a piece of tape and you tape it to your window. And every once in a while, you're going to check up on it. You're gonna go and see what happened, what's different with your water cycle, what's different with your bag. You're gonna take, and what I want you to do is take a picture. Every time you go to check up on your water cycle, you're gonna take a picture of it, because I want you to save at least 2 pictures for each day that you're gonna do this, or whenever I tell you, because whenever I tell you I'll stop randomly, you're gonna have some pictures, and then you're gonna compare your pictures with your friends. So like, I'm gonna put y'all into breakout rooms then, and then you're gonna just compare what you have with your friends and say like, oh, this happened with mine and this happened with mine, and kind of something like that. So every time you go, you just go up to the window that you have it taped on, take a picture, and then you have it saved with you. And then every time you go and check up on your water cycle bag and take a picture, I also want you to grab a ruler and measure your water in the bag. So how do we measure water with a ruler? You just grab it, you put your ruler at the bottom of this, and then measure up to this. And you're gonna measure your water every time you check up on your water cycle baggie, and you're gonna make a note of it in your journal, and then keep it, like, just put a date and then how much water is in your baggie. You can have the same amount. It's probably, maybe it'll change, maybe it won't, just so you can have something to look up at, like look for reference to. After that, like, let's just get it taped and then we'll move on to what we're gonna do next. Okay guys, so now that we have completed our water cycle baggie, let's just discuss what we've seen occur in our water cycle. So did we see anything different when we checked up on our water cycle baggies? What can you see that was different when you went to check up or take a picture of your water cycle?
There is less water.
Oh, good job. Wow. And why do we think that there is less water? Because sometimes you do have less water, and like some people will have less water in their water cycle bag. Why do you think that? Who can think of an idea or why that might happen?
The sun.
See, great. That's correct. The sun is why that happens. And we're gonna make these connections with our partner, and you can see we're gonna use our pictures that we took, and we're gonna just use that to reference when we're talking with our friends and seeing the factors, because there's a lot of factors that can impact, and I'm going to mention a few right now, but when you get with your partner and you compare, you're going to realize more and more. So one factor can be where you placed your water cycle baggie. So maybe you placed it in your room, and then your partner placed it downstairs in the kitchen, when the kitchen doesn't get much sunlight and you do get sunlight in your room. And your room is on the 2nd floor. You have to keep that in mind as well. Like you're higher up, closer to the sun. Maybe it receives more sunlight and evaporation happens and stuff like that. Did anybody notice something else about their water cycle baggie, like anything on their bag or?
Droplets of water.
Yeah, correct. I noticed some water droplets on my baggie too. So the water droplets are something we're also going to discuss when we're talking about our vocabulary, which is what we're going to do next. We're going to discuss some vocabulary about the water cycle, and we're also going to, before we get into the vocab, we're going to watch a video that recaps some of the vocab, and then I'm going to just discuss them with you, and then we can kind of link our oh wow, that's wonderful. That's what's supposed to happen. Good job. So yes, Farah, I see yours too, sweetie. Okay, so after we do that, you want to we're going to be watching a video to just recap, and then I'll go into more detail and we can kind of compare, or you guys will be able to link what we've seen in our pictures and our water cycle baggies to our vocabulary. Okay guys, so that was the end of the video. I paused it there. Am I still sharing my screen? Am I still sharing? No, okay. Okay, so now we're going to be discussing some vocabulary that we listened to in that video, that we went over in that video, and let's try to compare it to our water cycle baggies. So you guys remember yesterday when I did the beaker with the boiling water, just like the video said, and that was really cool because you got to see the evaporation process. But also in the water cycle baggie, we also got to see evaporation. Not like visually see, but like through our measurements and through our pictures, we got to see that. So who can mention or remind us of how we saw evaporation through the water cycle baggie?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. So throughout, so we're talking about evaporation. Evaporation is the process of, like they said in the video, like when water heats up and it evaporates and it like turns into vapor, and the state of matter goes from a liquid to a gas. So we saw that when we boil water, the vapor that we see, that's evaporation. That's when the water is turning into gas. So also in our water cycle baggie, when we looked at our results, we also saw evaporation. But how did we see evaporation? We didn't visually and like see that happen. Like we can't physically see like that occur because it happened over a period of time. But how did we see that through our results, through our measurements? Does somebody know?
No, ma'am.
Tahani, do you know?
You can tell by the water is less.
Yes, correct. So like when you see that your water is lessened, obviously the water has evaporated, or the sun has heated up the water and it has evaporated. And also through the video, they mentioned a process of like, you can put a lid and then condensation happens on the lid. I didn't do that when I showed y'all the beaker heating, like boiling water, but our water cycle baggies did show condensation, which is like forming water droplets, which Fair mentioned was like shown on our water cycle. Like after like the sun heats up the water and all that and kind of like cools down, you can see those water droplets forming on the on the inside of your water cycle baggie. Precipitation is when the water droplets form clouds because of like the water droplets like start getting together from condensation. They form clouds, and then the clouds get so heavy that it starts raining, right? So we didn't really see any rain process through our water cycle baggie, but kind of like if your water droplets on the side of your bag start to drop, that's kind of like precipitation, because your water cycle droplets are getting too heavy on the bag that it starts dropping back into the body of water. Does that make sense? Like your water droplets are like forming here, and then they start getting heavy and they start going back to your body of water here. And then runoff is just like your water running down from the land water back to the body of water, I'm sorry. But so that kind of like, you can kind of compare what you've done with the activity to our actual vocab, which is kind of interesting to see. And tomorrow we're going to get together with our partners and make sure you have your pictures ready so you can compare your pictures with your partners and kind of see what you can tell different from your partner, like maybe, and also have your measurements ready, because maybe your measurements don't add up to your partner's measurements. And sometimes people are not going to have any water decreased from their cup, like from their baggie, which is because of the lack of sunlight, because sunlight is the whole reason the water cycle like occurs, because without the sun you don't heat up your water, and your water won't turn into vapor, and then vapor won't turn into water droplets, and then so on and so forth. So does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Okay, guys, that was a really good lesson. I really enjoyed discussing that with y'all, and y'all being able to see the different components there are to a water cycle. And if you have any questions, you can definitely leave them in the chat, or y'all can ask them right now if y'all have any questions. And if not, definitely email me when you can, so that I can get back with you and make sure everything's clarified for y'all. So does anybody have any questions right now for me to answer?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Have a good day, guys. See you
You too.
tomorrow.
Keep